Hello, everybody. Laura Eisenhower here. I'm here with my good friend, Laura Worley. We have done quite a number of interviews together, and hopefully people have been following her channel, the work that she does, and will, check out the links to her books that I'm going to put in the description. It's really remarkable, her story and what she brings through. Laura Worley has been in the war zone because of helping survivors of MK Ultra and her own experience being raised as a monarch slave to high up politicians. She is going to help us to understand what the war zone means to her and things that she's gone through, things that she knows is happening that is very important for us to know so that we can navigate the craziness of these times. Um, her journey is about healing from all the military and cult abuse over 25 years, which led her to becoming a holistic practitioner, helping other survivors. And it's really incredible. We always get into so much. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I know there's a
Thanks
lot
for
of
having
things
me.
about what's currently happening we want to dive into, but wherever you feel you want to begin, I know we are going to be able to talk a bit about clones too, but take it away. Like where is a good starting point as far as
Maybe the war zone, what that feels like to me right now. So what I mean by war zone is what I feel like I'm in, because I am a practitioner, so I help survivors. And what's going on with them is I am working with them, but they are the ones really being activated and hurt right now, currently in this moment. Especially, it really started to become very we could all tell something was going on. So when I talk today, I'm going to talk about not just my clients, but other people's clients and other people that work with survivors. So we talk. And so I would prefer to share the stories in that way so that nobody is really directed in one little, knowing, I guess, just to be safe. So that's where the information's coming from. So we all noticed in November, right around, maybe a week or two before the elections, the survivors were getting activated. That means their mind control programming was getting activated and they were starting to break down. Like they were, at least a lot of them were pretty good, but then they started breaking down because they were being contacted. So then in January, it's gotten really bad. And this is what's weird is I am not able to really help targeted people too much because it's technology that they're sending to hurt it's usually MK Ultra survivor that they're using these experiments on, and vets. And so I noticed an uptake in the last 6 months of people calling me and telling me they're being targeted and can I help? And they tell me their stories, they send me emails, and it's like, it's heartbreaking because they're telling me what our government is doing to them. So there's many ways of being targeted, but it's like technology. So it's using, like, if you have your DNA, most probably MK Ultra survivors, they have our DNA, but they use the frequencies to use our DNA, and they can send it directly to the person, and that person, they can control your mood. So mainly they want you to be in a sad, depressed state so that they can keep you under control. They also, most people know about the voice to skull, but they can do other things with the technology, as they can actually read your thoughts. I know that's insane. And it was insane to me for very long to believe it. But I have too many people calling me and telling me from what they're going through right now. And the hardest thing is, there was this 30-year-old woman, she has a child, and she is an MK Ultra survivor. And she said that since Biden has been in, she has been targeted. She was never targeted ever until Biden got in, and she says they send things to her every single day and burn her with this technology. So what they're doing is they're testing it out on what they feel is expendable people, which is the MK Ultra survivors and the vets. So they're testing all the stuff, but they're going to use it on everyone. So yeah, I won't say this one part because we talked about not going medical, but I just feel like God showed me that, what we've been going through for three years is they're wanting to have as many of those in our bodies because of I'm not even going to say just the little pieces that gather up. You may know what I'm talking about. They're little pieces to begin with, but then they find each other, they're attracted, and they become a whole, they become big. Then they will attract themselves to the brain, which is where they want the technology to go to control us. So
You're
I've heard
saying across
stories
the board
that,
as humans, not just MK Ultra survivors. You're talking about all.
yes,
Okay, sorry.
yes, all
Keep going.
humans. Yeah, and so that's their ultimate goal. But so the war zone is knowing, we know they've been contacted, and we know that they're being told to get ready to do their job for the New World Order. And we've always known that this was going to happen. It's been one little piece at a time. We've seen this happen and this happen. Well, those are just the little pieces, but they're getting ready for the big event, and they want these people to do their job. And I thought, well, why are they torturing them right now? Like, what's their point in that if they want them ready for the job? And what my thought is that they want them tortured so they will give in and not fight back. So they'll have no energy to fight back. They'll just do the job. And a lot of their jobs, are not real good. You can probably guess what they may be. I've talked about jobs before, but the ultimate job is going to be a hit list of who is supposed to be taken care of. And a lot of them are high up government people. So,
Okay, a hit list of high up government people that are on our side, I would imagine. Because
I don't know. I don't know on that. But okay, so remember, I'll just go through it real quick. When we talked about the New World Order plans in my mind control programming that I had when I was taken back and updated. So the first stage, it was like the pan, blank, blank, blank. And then the next stage is basically what we're in, is creating a war. It's, the war starting to get created. There's a lot of chaos, shortage, economic shortages. Okay. Economic crash. Okay. So that's stage 2.
And right. Keep going.
So we're kind of in that stage, but what they're going to be moving it to is 3. And that's where there's going to be an invasion in our country. And that's when, they're going to want to take out eventually our government and put in the new government. So that's what I feel the war zone is I'm trying to help survivors get through this very difficult time. Some of them are aware of what they're trying to do, but others aren't. They're a mess. I mean, they're just a total mess, and they were not a mess
right
before this. So they're being activated. And it's really tough to hear and see what our government is doing. And the New World Order cannot bring in their plans without the army of the MK Ultra. So I feel as being a human being, it's our goal to stop them from being activated. We cannot allow them to be activated. And because if they are, that there is a huge army. I mean, there's millions of MK Ultra survivors around the world. So, and they're going to use the military that they've already brainwashed, and most of them don't even know they have this inside. So that's who their army is.
And then also the humans that are having alterations because of the weaponry being used in order for them to, like, an MK Ultra survivor has got this set of challenge, but humans breaking free of being assimilated into all of this is the other challenge of the war, right? So we got just regular civilians that are being manipulated by these technologies, and then the MK Ultra survivors that are being activated to do the jobs or the hits. Yes. You're saying. So you were pulled back in, you were able to see through it. Where do you find
it took me a while
are not able to have the kind of breakthroughs that you are, and how do you sort of shield yourself from them? I mean, not attempting to continue this with you when you broke it back a couple of years ago, was it just shielded you somehow? I mean, do you mind me asking, like, how?
No. Well, what happened was, it was because I'd already done so much work that it wasn't a good idea taking me back, because I was pretty old anyway for them to be doing this, to be updating a whole new program inside. So it took me a couple of years to remember, because I didn't remember it right off the bat, but I knew something was terribly wrong because it was how I used to feel. And then God showed me over time, and then I had to undo, which means deprogram what they put in the new program. The only reason I think I was able to do this is because not only I think God wants me to be the witness of what they're planning, because very few are, at least I've not met anybody that have remembered their updates, you know. So that's what we're up against. Most people will not remember that they've been updated, or this program is lying dormant in them and they are going to activate it.
Except for
So
the
I
people
think I'm supposed to be a witness.
right.
Hmm?
But the clients that people are hearing from and the ones that you've been talking to, is it just not very many that are having, because at least they have the awareness, but it might be, like you said, too much for them to fight against it if there's torture tactics. So you're maybe not getting the full amount of information from them. You see all the symptoms and signs, or are some of the people definitely like, okay, I gotta stop this? Are they aware enough to seek how to shield themselves or deprogram? Or are they
Well,
putting that
I mean,
pressure
if
on
they're
you?
seeing me or somebody else, they're aware that something is
Yeah,
wrong. Some
right.
of them are at the at least my clients, some are at the place where they still aren't all the way deprogrammed, but they are awake enough to know when they're contacted. And, you know, so some have been awake of what's been happening lately. Some will not know. They'll just think that they're breaking down and have no reason, you know, why am I breaking down? And I have seen a lot of people, survivors, like they're having breakdowns like crazy, but they have no clue what's going on. And so it is my belief that it is the government getting them ready to do the job.
Right, gotcha.
Any survivor is going to have the New World Order programming. So it's not really a question if you do. If you're a super soldier, you have it. If you're a monarch, you have it. If any mind control programming, you will have this New World Order programming, one world government programming.
No matter how much a person has been a whistleblower, thinks that they've been able to awaken to it, there's no guarantee. Whereas somebody like you who is able to see through that last thing, I mean, that was everything. So when they read a book like yours, so that must really, really help them in their healing process. I mean, do your clients and
Yeah.
these other people like have taken the time to read this? Because I would imagine that
Well,
that
the
is
new
a form of deprogramming, because you're coming from a place of having done that for yourself.
Well, the New World Order programming is in my book. It just came out 2 weeks ago. So it is a how to deprogram yourself and where you need to focus on. And so you need to focus on the core foundation, not all of the programming that you are familiar with. And I don't want to trigger anyone. I'm just going to say a few names, but what's typical in therapy is you'll try to take out like Sleeping Beauty or the Wizard of Oz or those kind of things. Those are distractions. Yes, they're there, and yes, they will have to be taken care of, but they're not the core foundation, and they will not get you free. So in order to get free, because of being taken back, because of so much happening, God opened my mind and taught me so many things. And he said, if you will focus only on the core foundation, you can get free. And in 2019, that's when God started showing me about the core foundation and the tree of life and the tree of death. And it goes into this huge thing, but it is the Kabbalah teaching, the occult stole, and turned it on its head. So Aleister Crowley, Manly Hall are a big part of turning the Kabbalah teachings on its head. They're not the only ones, but it's a Freemason template that's put into everybody. So I had a Freemason template. The Illuminati, anybody part of them, anybody that's gone through the military, you have the Freemason template of the Kabbalah. And that goes into my book, and I explain it all on both books, really, because you need to have the information of the spiritual side of what this programming, because it's not just torture and horror. They're also trying to ingrain in you a spiritual evil in different dimensions that are loyal to Satan. And so that's what's so hidden, is because most of us will go talk about, oh, they tortured you, they shocked you, they drugged you, they raped you, they did these things. Yes, they did, but they do, all of this is completely organized. It's organized template that they're following, and they're doing it to build up the kingdom of Satan. Even the military, they are doing it for the same purpose. So this is a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual war, period. And so that's what my book goes into. It really helps you understand, like, so this is two things that happen with survivors. Most of the time, survivors don't have money to get help. Second of all, most times survivors, I have so many people call me, you would not believe, that say, I have some memories of this, but I don't really know what they did. And so this is how the Illuminati and how all of them win, because they know if you don't have money, you're not going to get help. And if you can't remember, you're not going to get free. So usually that's what survivors are up against. So, but if you know what they've done to you, so this book is written in a way, you need both, but the manual is written in a way that if you had a partner that would be willing to go through this with you and help you, you could undo it yourself with somebody else. I mean, it's not the best, but you know what? When you're in a situation that you don't know what's happened to you and you're really doing horrible and you want to kill yourself, this is information that can set you free. And that's how God had me write it, really. So is that if a person's desperate and they have no one, even themselves, if you have this information, you'll get yourself free. So that's kind of why it's so important, I think, to get out, because my husband and I have had a lot of spiritual attacks, especially over this book in the last year, like large spiritual attacks where even a large Illuminati coven did a lot of witchcraft to send to me, and it was mainly to kill me, but my husband helped me. We had to go, it took many days to get through it because they were doing it over many days, and it's in my book, I explain that. But this is serious. So I think, maybe there's something they don't want out in the public because they don't want this information. It's very hidden. So
Yeah.
About the tree of death.
Right. And everything that they hide is really what has given them so much power, and all the attempts to keep this stuff hidden. I mean, obviously, they didn't expect somebody like you to be able to produce this, write this, and the protection that you have, even though these attacks are probably pretty constant, um,
It's
because of
definitely God helping
your
me.
connection, right, to God. And I mean, I think a lot of people are freaking out looking at the way the world is. No matter how much warnings were out there, no matter how much, there's a lot of people that have done all they can to sort of switch people on, wake them up, help them see through all of this. Where do you feel encouraged? I mean, things that most people don't. You've seen it firsthand. You've gone through it and survived it. How do you feel though about where humanity is heading? I mean, God doesn't abandon us. Only humans can divert their attention away, right? So are you surprised there hasn't been more of a spiritual awakening when so much has been breathing down our neck, and that more people haven't do you feel that puts us on a very dangerous trajectory? I mean, where do you feel the inspiration? And I don't want to say the word hope necessarily, but how do you kind of manage knowing what you know and continue to feel some level of positivity about the human race? I mean, I tap into that and I feel, but I have my days where I'm just like, man, this is.
I know. It's like, okay, I'm done. What the good news is that never in history have we talked about this publicly. Never, you guys. I want you to understand that. Never, ever, ever in history have we bringing out the darkness into the light. In the 1990s, the early 2000s, I had no one to help me. No one understood what this was. And most of them were trying to stop any information coming out. So that's the good news, is that we are bringing out the darkness, and we're showing the darkness into the light on every category. I think God is doing it to wake us up and say, this is what's going on in your world. Are you going to do anything about it? Because if you're not, you're going to have the consequence that is rolling your way. So I really feel like we do have to wake up. So the good news is a lot of people have. I would never be able to speak about MK Ultra like I do right now. In the 90s or early 2000s, no way. Like, they put me in a hospital. So that is the good news. We are coming out. We are going to do this. So the reason why I want to help survivors get free is because we are the ones that can take down the cabal. We know all their secrets. We are strong as hell because we've been through it all. So who is better than to take them down? But we got to get people free. And we need professionals to help. We really do. We need a lot of professionals that are willing to help.
Do anything to help bring all this together. And I mean, this is a major, major priority because, like you said, this is the new world order. They cannot achieve it without these programmed individuals. And then, I mean, when we see how they're going after our children, it's just unbelievable. I mean, do you feel just like star seeds or advanced souls. I mean, some of these children are going to be sitting there in class and seeing through the programs and maybe rise up to be an influential leader to help the ones that are being
I
horrible.
do. Yeah. Because I'm already seeing that. I'm actually seeing sometimes, the stories about like kids really standing through and saying, I'm not going to buy this crap. Don't you think that God works that way though? He
Oh yeah,
gives
I
us
would have
what
been
we
like
can
that.
handle.
If I was in the school systems right now, I would be the loudest, most like, you've got to be kidding me. You wouldn't be able to make me sit still. I probably would have an empty chair. I'd just be wandering off. Sorry, go
We
ahead.
need to shut it down. Well, we need to shut it down. We need to shut down all the school
The
systems. So we need to
parents
start
and
something brand new.
absolutely. Just amazing to me. I mean, parents are starting to realize it, like, okay, what are they seeing in the auditorium? What are you teaching my kid? Because they notice in the books a lot of the sexual programs or the, like, what is my kid reading? I mean, it's insane. So that's all these grooming tactics for the populace and going through the MK Ultra stuff, which is on a whole other level to then be this army of influencers, right? I mean, like Derek, right? We talked to Derek together, haven't talked to him in a while. And you both, I mean, separately, and I think we covered it when we were all together, how he also had altars that were groomed to play a particular role in these end times and recognized this kind of thing. And so was that sort of how you located some of these aspects of yourself? I mean, it seems like the integration process has happened, and do you feel like you're consistently just always you, or do you still have to constantly work on maintaining your center, or?
Well, I don't feel that I'm not fractured or separated or parts like that. Like I feel like I have integrated, but it's not anything that was fast. It was years and years and years. So it's not anything that just is a snap of the finger. But at the same time, when I say that, God is really showing me through this core foundation that your integration can be so quick. I literally have talked to therapists, licensed therapists. One said to me, well, I don't believe that anybody that has MK Ultra or mind control or has DID, multiple personalities, can ever heal their mind. And I said, that is a big fat lie, because that is what the cabal is trying to teach you. Because the only reason you split your mind was to be safe, so that you could get through the jobs that you had to do. Why can't you pull your mind back together? You can. All you have to do is heal the trauma. So that is a lie. I want everybody to know you can heal your mind and bring it whole. You can, and you will. You can.
Wow. And your book, Puzzle Pieces Together, is that the concept? That's incredible.
It'll show you how to do it. And everybody integrates differently and at a speed that's different. But I have seen miracle after miracle of people pulling their mind together so fast. Sometimes I'm blown away. So I really think God is equaling up our abilities to heal to the task ahead of us. So that's the good news. It's not like the old days when there was nobody that really, well, there's not many that can help, but I don't know, something God is just like pulling out a whole bunch of stuff for us to heal. And that is the good news.
That's so incredible.
And I think
just the role that you play, moving through all of that and being in just the warrior energy of just the light force, the God energy that you're so deeply connected to. I mean, this is such a huge breakthrough for the planet. And yeah, Kathy O'Brien wrote PTSD, Time to Heal. And, there's very few that have been able to get to the level that you have. And folks like her. And
it's because they don't know what they've done. That's the problem. They don't know what's in them. That's why we have to help them know what's inside of them.
And then is facing some of those traumas, does it put you back in that pain, or because I remember we talked about it before and it wasn't necessarily like that, the integration process. I mean, was it like you had to revisit some really, really difficult things, or was it a little bit smoother than that? I remember you telling me about it, but
well, yes, you're going to deal. Okay. So when you're in the deprogramming process, you're going to work through removing the programming, and then you're going to look at what's going on with your parts. And believe it or not, when you remove a lot of the programming, the parts, a lot of the pain is gone, but not completely. And so you have to see what your parts are still carrying. How I deal with that is I use tapping, and that helps to release the negative pain, because you have to have some tools for pain. Body code can help, but tapping is better. So you have to have a way to stabilize yourself. And so when I help clients, I use eutaptics tapping because they have to have a way to stabilize themselves when we're working too sometimes. Also, what will happen when we're doing the work is that suicide programs and, alarm systems will come up. But I have an easy tool in there that works most of the time, so that is just shut down. Because you have to realize, anybody who's a survivor, these things are in your mind and you created them. Okay.
Right.
There's not a bomb in your mind. There's
Right.
not a bomb in your body. It's a creation of illusion that you created because you were tortured to create it. But at the end of the day, the programmers can't create that in your mind. You did it all. So you can undo what they've done.
Wow.
And that's what people have to realize. It's not the programmer that put this in your mind. I mean, they tortured you to make you create it. But, yes, they do technology and they can insert things in your mind. So I know that part is true. But at the end of the day, it's your unconscious mind, really, that is the one that does it all.
But when they're like giving you a job or any of the MK Ultra individuals a job, there is the programming of, like, when you would deliver letters, right? So there'd be something in between the different maybe alters that would have an instruction set to go assassinate, do a drug run, send a message,
Yeah.
and then
It's like
or answer to something to be like in a sexually compromised position with a government leader.
It's like a system. So here you have one. I'll just like briefly make something up here. Okay. So there's a system of the messenger. And so the messenger has to record the message. So it's done perfectly. Okay. Then has to go the next part of the job in the system, the part will now have to go give the message. Okay. But that message is only given unless a sexual act is done. That's the code. A code has to be given, and it's always done with the sexual act. Then the next part comes up, gives the message. Then you have a receiver part, and the receiver takes the new message from the person you just gave it to, and they give you the new message. So then you have to take it back, and then you have the part that will do the sexual stuff. So it's like different parts to do the whole list of jobs that you have to do to be a messenger. It's not just one little part.
Wow. And that goes with anything like doing a hit on somebody,
Yeah.
like an assassination thing, or how
Yeah.
much, I mean, there's so much going underneath our feet, right? Tunnels and underground bases and this and that. And you were going to mention a little bit about cloning. So, I mean, there's so much under our noses, under our feet, that it's mind blowing, the level of technology they have and the depths of like wrapping our heads around this level of strategy and just how organized it all is to do such evil. It's just mind blowing. So, do you want to talk a little bit about some of these facilities, what might be going on there, and anything you want to share about what you've experienced or seen, or what you know about the tunneling, how prevalent it is, and how is this stuff being cleaned up? I mean, I hear about Eisenhower and his connection to the White Hats and Val Thor and the Guardians, and there's supposed to be a lot of positive military. So maybe after we talk about the tunnels and what you know about current things going on, we can close maybe on a hopeful or a better just what your thoughts are about more positive military. But go ahead. What do you know about current?
Well, as far as I know right now, that the military that is involved in the MK Ultra programming and bringing in the one world government are still full speed ahead. And so what I know for an absolute fact of this is true. So if they've closed down some, I don't know, but I do know that most of them are, at least there is a lot still running. That's all I can tell you. So the clone thing is, I'm going to share this with you, and I will totally be on your side when you say this woman's crazy, because I don't understand it at all. I'm just sharing the story. Okay. And that's all I can do is, okay. So with a clone, I don't understand how they do it. I don't, but this is what's coming out, is that they are able to take a part of their consciousness, upload it to an AI technology, And in this AI technology, they are putting it in a clone body that will usually, okay, I'll just tell you that it's usually going to look like the person that they stole the consciousness from. Now, in this process, Virginia is a very big holder of clones, as well as quite a few other locations. The one location that is very big, but I think when Joe Biden went down to his Christmas vacation in the Bahamas, where his island is, whatever, they have this person has verified that her clone was there amongst many others. And there's a place in the Antarctica, it's in Alaska, that there is also another facility of clones. Now, anyway, there's a lot of information to this, but what we know for absolute sure is they've been preparing for a while now to use the clones for the upcoming bringing in this event. They're getting prepared to do it. Now, the interesting thing that took place that I don't think they know, but maybe they do, I don't know, is the person, because they stole a part of that person's consciousness, which I don't know how they did, that person could see and know where her consciousness was in the facility, and can see and hear what they're saying. They could see the facility. They could see what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. And so somehow it was able to be communicated back, because they're, part of each other, right? So I've been blown away about all this. I really, really have, but I know they're doing it. I just know my complete soul they're doing it. So so that's what we're up against. They're doing some real nasty shit. And I will tell you one other experiment that they did. This person, she basically, I would consider her to be on the good side. And they wanted somebody that would do more things, apparently. And they tried to download an evil consciousness into the same body with the good consciousness, and that did not go well. Like, they were trying to take over the good consciousness with the evil consciousness. It came from an evil person who was very aligned with evil, and they were trying to see if it would overtake. Now, in this particular case, it didn't take, but I don't know if it does. Usually I don't know. So this is what we're up against. These facilities are very big, and they're going on right now. There's some stories I can't share, but I can verify that pretty much every city has the bases in multiple cities, and they're still doing this targeting shit. They're doing all of this. The targeting has gotten really bad. Like, it's gotten so bad, and they're just getting ready, whatever they're going to do. So what do you know how I feel like we could destroy them? If anybody that would have any ability to do this, is you destroy their supercomputers, their technology, their satellites that they're doing to target people and to do these clones. You shut them down, you destroy it with a bomb, whatever. I don't know. I'm not, don't have a charge of that, but that's how we have to shut down their capabilities. You have to take away the CIA's money. And these groups, because if they don't have money, they can't do these things. And they're all these agencies, they account to no one for money. They account to no one for their actions. They're nothing but criminals at the highest levels of evil. In the CIA, especially, because the CIA is responsible for the targeted individuals and the persons that, MK Ultra and all the other experiments they're doing. It is the CIA. And the people, I'm just going to tell you this really quick, is there is $1 billion suit by targeted individuals that it's against people that you'll know is Merrick Garland, Mayorkas, and Ray, but there's a whole bunch of them. They have $1 billion suit of targeted people got together and are suing these entities in the government for targeting them and using the amendments. So this is real. This just happened in January
That's good
of
news.
this year. That is good news. But you have to realize, what does that say? It says that every one of them are aware. They're
Yeah.
aware of what they're doing.
And there must be a
Like,
chain reaction, right? I mean, just the energy you hold. Think of how many people that you've switched on. And so anyone that switches on, it must have a ripple effect that helps kind of.
I hope so. I do. Because I feel like I'm in a warrior mode. I'm not in a mode like love mode. So, I mean, I understand the love thing, but I'm not in that mode. I can't teach that. I'm more like, I'm just going to kick your ass. I'm sick of it. So I don't know. I can't help that mode right now.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
one day I'll teach love.
You are love. I mean, just this higher kind of love. You know, I think fourth chakra love gets just, I mean, I just feel it on a whole other level. And that's part of the warrior energy and how you're able to do what you do. I mean, the connection with the God source and the earth energy, you know, just the love of creation, the unconditional love of source that can heal us and help show us the way.
Yeah.
Um, and just the strength you have to put out all this information. You've written 2 books, and I think that warrior energy is just such a high form of unbelievable love. But sorry, I just had to share that. But I
I
hear
just feel
you.
like you're in a war. You're a warrior too.
Wait,
I mean,
yeah, and it's always, you know, kind of, yeah, been a little bit of a up and down, because of, yeah, the empathicness I can't seem to shield myself from. It says my heart just is constantly broken for so many people that are dealing with this madness, but in a larger picture sense, as infinite souls, you know, this is part of the greater awakening process. It's just amazing how much it's figuring it out in the most awkward of ways, you know, sickness, toxicity, realizing that your kids have been put on the line without even realizing it, and loving parents when it hits them. It's like the pain that they're going to feel in their hearts. So that worries me. It keeps me up, but I have to transmute it, let go as best as I can, and just keep the warrior energy
yeah.
alive. Because once, you know, if I burn out, it's just, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't even want to deal. It's just like, leave, you know, so I'm just
I know
trying to stay
sometimes we
balanced.
all get like that.
Oh, I know. I can't,
We
I think we're all.
everybody that's a warrior, we're all like that because you're in the battlefield and you can only handle so much. But the thing is that I have to remind myself often is that I cannot handle everybody's what's happened to them and their emotions, but God can. So I can just be a warrior for him, and he has to carry their emotions and their pain.
Totally.
I'm not able to.
Right. Right. I'm gonna constantly remind myself of that. And it is in God's hands. And, you know, I really feel the strength of the Mother Earth energies. We're elemental beings. We're seeing all this toxicity. But if we do the inner work, if we purify our elementals on the inside, I feel like the earth responds to us to a certain degree. That's part of the cleanup program. I don't think there would be this much constant toxicity if humans were more conscious and awake and more a part of being that override frequency, because we're the more advanced technologies than all these dark technologies. But if people are half asleep, so that's what's amazing, because what I see with you is this override frequency as stepping into this more advanced technology, because the brain computer is free of the controls. And it's amazing how many humans that haven't been through the MK Ultra have been so groomed through the television and the fake news that they've been very successful on that level. Any thoughts though, positive military? I know you know a lot about the army stuff, and New World Order is pretty much on, but do you ever get this sense that there's a lot happening on our behalf? I mean, I know we have to save ourselves to a certain degree, but when you see things like fake alien invasion and just the negative ET agenda or alien agenda connection, what are your thoughts? Anything about what you feel is coming when it comes to that?
I mean, maybe I'm wishful thinking. I think God's going to intervene and help us, but I do feel like we're still going to get the big event because too many people won't wake up. And I think this big event is coming. I really, really do. But I think through this big event, he's going to heal us in a very big way that's never happened before. And I think we have to go through both to get the good. That's my thoughts. I don't, because the MK Ultra used alien, programming, it's hard for me to believe in it because of that, because they did a lot of programming with the aliens.
Talk a little bit more about that. Like the
well, I don't
like maybe
personally
like my
think they
lab,
did too
like
much with
not real alien abductions, but the mind control saying it was an alien, you mean? Sorry, go ahead.
That's what I know. I do have several clients over the years who have said that they've been abducted, and I don't know. That part I don't. I just know what they did. Can it be like right now? I'm thinking anything is possible because I mean, so much of stuff has happened that I never dreamed possible. So anything is possible, but I don't know.
I mean, from what I've learned from some of the clients and just when I was recruited to go off planet and just working with a lot of abductees, I absolutely agree. I mean, there's a military component to it all. I heard that they, create actual grays in like a lab, but there's also other types of grays. But
Oh my gosh.
mostly, yeah, connected to military, connected to false abductions. My ex, who wanted to take me to Mars, was having abduction situations, but it looked like it was being cloaked by artificial telepathy that was convincing him that going to Mars was a good idea. He was getting codes and disappearing. So I know he had some of the MK Ultra stuff. And it was really like alarming to start to really understand it from such a close personal connection, because he had a handler.
Right.
He would refer to a handler. So I knew it was artificial telepathy, and what he was experiencing wasn't legit. It was my labs, because the aviary connected to the Mars recruitment are connected to all that. And but then I think there is a legit ET component, but this is where the New World Order and the programmings are going to confuse the piss out of people, and they're going to get the false disclosure, the fake alien holographic technologies, and the problem reaction solution of here we come to save the day. And what I love that you shared is God will intervene on some level so that people are getting the real deal, not some holographic blue beam technology, second coming of Jesus, or fake alien invasion. So that's really hopeful.
Yep.
I mean, I
I
agree
think
too. I mean, how could there not? I mean, it just feels like I don't know, what the human race to deserve. This is horrible. I should be careful with my thoughts. I mean, obviously, a free-willed universe, the deeper things based in the symbology, right? The tree of death. And but like you said, it takes so much effort to program a person away from God. But
right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? I hope I'm not talking too much.
That's why I think ultimately we'll still overcome them. So like they did an AI test. They sent not a test, but they sent out like questionnaire, and they said, would you put a chip in your child's head if it was going to make him smarter in school and to college? And 33% said they would, if it would make their kids smarter. So do you see how they're setting it all up? Oh, if your child has a chip in its head, then he'll be smarter. No, they will control him completely. So that's how some of the parents need to wake the hell up. I'm serious with that. But
yeah, and the gender stuff, it'd be puberty blockers. Oh. But yeah, keep going.
yeah. Well, it's all just to take you away from God. Ultimately, it's the biggest slap in the face to do AI technology and get it put into our brains, because they want us to not be human anymore. And it's like, F you, God. That's what they're doing. And it's all Lucifer agenda. So that's what it all boils down to, you guys. I mean, it might be simple, but that's what it boils down to, because they worship Satan, period. They worship him. Lucifer is really the name of it.
Right. So some would say Satan and Lucifer are different. Some would say, and I'm surprised that Lucifer means a light being and Lucifer's an angel, Lucifer's good. I mean, and if anybody knows the depth of these kind of rituals and teachings and what they are all about, help us to understand. So do they consider Lucifer and Satan the same thing? Is Satan more just that energy of harvesting and just the darkness? I mean, like, how can we understand it through how they practice all this? The Lucifer, Satan thing.
Okay. Well, it's Lucifer is what the programming is done in, not Satan. And Lucifer is who they worship. All programming is done. All parts are created to worship Lucifer. Not all parts, but most of them. And they worship Lucifer. So they've been trained since in the womb that Lucifer's God and God is bad. Jesus is bad. But Lucifer's good. Everything he teaches is good. And that one day, if you do everything he says, you're going to go to a paradise. And I will tell you, I have worked with parts who are so loyal that they will fight to the very end of believing that Lucifer has a paradise for them if they just do their jobs. So that's what we're up against. But when you have a ritual, the ritual is calling in demons. Okay. And they're all different authorities and different levels of power. And so when you have different people who are very dark, like Soros or Clinton's, or they can call in the deeper, higher demons. I have witnessed myself, Soros, call in the most horrible demons. So you have to realize it's real. They use it to program. They use it for every single ritual. Every ritual is a sacrifice to Lucifer and to say, thank you, we love you. So everything they do is to mock God in a ritual. Okay, I'll tell you this really quick is the reason why they're very, very obsessed with blood, okay, is because first of all, it's an abomination before God for you to drink a child's blood, okay, or to do everything they do with it. Now, why are they so obsessed with blood? Well, if you turn it over back on its head, where it really started is that Jesus Christ, the blood of Jesus Christ, has all power and authority over this earth and can heal every single human being. And that's why they're mocking it, is because it actually is a symbol for something good and great and healing for all of us. But they have destroyed it. And so they're obsessed with mocking God. And that's why when they drink the blood, they do get high, but every single time they do it, every single thing they're doing, they're giving up their soul, but they're attaching themselves to demons. So you cannot do that without being attached to demons. You've invited them in every time you do something like that. So a lot of the work I do with clients is we have to get rid of a lot of demons because it's at layers. It's not just one, oh, I'll cast you out. They're layered into all the programming. And so it's a process. So I make sure all my clients know how to be the experts at casting out because they have many. And I never knew I had many. I didn't even know that was such a thing. I didn't know that for 20 some years that I had all this stuff. But demons keep the programming in place, and they also make sure you can't go forward. If you have problems in your life, I guarantee you there's going to be a demon attached to it. And this goes into a whole other subject, but it's about finding their legal right and taking it away from them so they have no power over you. If you've ever tried to cast out and they come back, it's because they have some kind of permission or legal authority. And that's why when children are being abused and they are having the programming put in the rituals, they always ask permission. Can I do this to, the child? And then an adult will say yes. Well, because that is what the demon has to have to be invited in. It's like a vampire. You remember those stories that the vampire would have to be invited in with permission? Well, it's the same thing. The demon has to be given permission, and then he can take over in whatever way that they want.
So a lot of this is rooted in parental consent that are in these families that hand over their children.
Or adult family, cult members. Somebody has to say yes.
And the children don't have the ability to say, I don't consent, as long as they're under the domain of their parents. I mean, can they ever say?
Well, they wouldn't even know to say no. They wouldn't know.
Children.
No child knows to say no. Like, that's not going to happen.
Especially it starts.
They don't even understand what they're doing. It starts
at infants and in the womb very often. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot to, wow. I know I could just talk to you all day, and anything that we didn't share that you find, you want to make sure we say before we close.
I think we should have hope, you guys, even though it doesn't seem like we should, because people waking up is huge, and survivors all over the world are waking up in numbers that's never happened before. In my mind, survivors are not weak. They're powerful and they're strong, and they're warriors, and we have to encourage them to, this is not hopeless, and they can get through it and heal. And we have a whole world full of warriors, not just MK Ultra, but I think you're a warrior. So many warriors that have risen to the task. And that is absolutely exciting to see so many people stand up and say, no, this is not going to happen anymore. So that's exciting.
That is so exciting.
And you're a sister warrior, and you're a very strong one forever. I know that you are, always been.
So much.
So
Yes, you are just beyond. I'm so grateful for our connection and just the warrior sisterhood, and just the role that you play is just unbelievable. And I feel so uplifted. I knew I'd feel better after talking to you. I know it's a lot of really intense stuff that is covered, but that alone, I feel like it de-weaponizes everything. Once the mind is free, it's just like these weapons just become pretty useless because they rely on the mind control for it to really work, for that assimilation to take place, wouldn't you say? So it's just
oh, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, and
And
this in
secrets.
the books. So guys, anybody who's struggling with this, I know there's a lot of people out there that have these feelings, they don't know what to do with it. Getting books like this, I mean, you must get overwhelmed. You have, I mean, that just working with clients all the time, when you're up against something that you've been through yourself, do you sometimes feel matching pictures or like, oh my gosh, I remember this one. I had that same thing. Do you feel
Well, I mean, the one programming for the update of the New World Order matched somebody that was in the UK. So that was weird. But for the most part, I mean, I understand what they're going through because I've been through that. So, but I try not to take on their stuff, because if I do, then I can't help them. Because
right?
if they're drowning and then I drowning, nobody's going to win here. So I have to, like
So
I said, I give it to Jesus, and I sit here and I focus on what I have to do. And Jesus has to take the pain, because I can't, because otherwise it will swallow you up and kill you. So
wow, it's just
if you take
unbelievable,
on,
that strength and commitment to do this kind of work. And I really just want to help as much as I can. This is an incredibly important video. I'll keep it up on YouTube for a little bit, and then I'm going to get it on the alternative platforms. And what I'll probably do in the
okay,
description, share some things that you wrote to me, that I'll pass by you on a safer platform to share. A little bit
okay.
more detail, a little bit more names. Um, and yeah, I mean, anytime you want to
Can
come
I
on and
share
talk,
one thing?
of course.
So you guys, I'm trying like heck to share with as many professionals and survivors as I can how to get free. So we're doing a seminar March 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Las Vegas, but you can attend live. So worldwide, you can attend. The last one was really awesome because people connected. Like there's gonna be a lot of, you can ask questions, you can chat together. And we had some of the people that attended started a Telegram chat so they could just be supportive of one another, and have made some friends. And so we want to make it real safe for everybody, and that we'll give you tools in the meantime. Like you won't be triggered, because even if, I mean, you will be triggered, but we're going to give you tools to handle that. So we tap often throughout the seminar. My husband comes in and saves the day. When I've taught all the heavy stuff, he's going to come in and help with you to make, laugh. And then he'll teach some spiritual stuff. And so people left just saying, I left with hope. I didn't leave with, all this
I want to
heavy stuff.
come. That's
You
amazing.
can.
What an incredible team. And just for everybody to know, your husband wasn't in any MK Ultra stuff, right? I know there's been targeting, but
Yeah.
no. So
He
that,
didn't grow up in it, but they used him and hurt him. So
right.
and so I do have a part of that, how family and couple programming happens, and how if they find woundedness in your partner, they will use it. And they did find the woundedness in him. That this is really weird, but I'll just tell you guys real quick, is we've decided we're just going to go out and tell people, because families need to heal, and nobody's talking about families, survivors that, survivors have families, and they have nowhere to go to talk about this. So what happened to my husband is he was in the hospital in New York at 3 years old. And back in those days, they didn't let the parents stay overnight. And this is in the 60s. In the middle of the night, a 3-year-old little boy was taken down to the bottom of the hospital, and they did ritualistic type things, satanic things to him, which the best way I can describe it is created a wounded part that they could access later at some point. And that's what they do to people. I have people that have been in like daycares, and they were programmed for 2 solid years, and then they could still access them as an adult. So they're trying to find the best way is a portal inside of you. And if they find the portal, that's how they can access you. And it doesn't even have to be a survivor. And you know what they're doing is they're coming after everybody. So you gotta learn how to protect yourself. You have to learn how to protect yourself spiritually, because because how they come after you is spiritually. They're using witchcraft. This is all witchcraft, you guys. So you gotta protect yourself. And I do go into a lot of that, and we will teach a lot of that in the seminar. But anyway, I do say this, I know people have, you know, financial situations. So what we decided this time, instead of giving scholarships, we're just going to say, you know, we have the price. We'd love it if you could pay it. If you can't, we don't want this to be a financial harm to your life. So give a donation of whatever you can, even if it's something small, because then I feel like there's an even exchange. I don't know, there's something in that, I think. I don't know what that means, but I just feel like when somebody gives like an exchange, you know, it's
Very
more
important.
powerful.
It's incredibly
Yeah. So
important.
just give a donation. I don't care what it's for, but we want you to attend. It's more important that you attend. So
Amazing. Wow. I'd love to see if I can just come, and I'll definitely put the info in the description, and I'll share on my Telegram, and I'll put out blasts. What an amazing thing. I'm always just so blown away every time I talk to you. I don't even know how to close it. I know we'll stay in touch, and anytime you want to come on, let me know. Anything you feel I can do to support this greater, you know, priority on the planet, I'm all there. So
yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think the biggest thing is, to all warriors out there, we support each other right now, because we have to have support ourselves if we're lifting up others. So
and you've
anyway,
been
let's
so
kind
wonderful.
of support each other.
Oh, totally. And I really appreciate you just really being just such a, you know, great, you know, friend and support, and that we have that. It's everything right now. It's also, as we know, what they're targeting, unity. They just want divide and conquer. They just keep pushing these psyop kind of movements that really don't help. And I'm
I
amazed that
know.
on social media it says we do not discriminate and all this stuff. We want to make this a safe place, but all the censorship, it's like, oh, it's just unbelievable, the hypocrisy. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons for a person to be able to wake up. And the heavier it gets, the more adversities, the more we have no choice as a humanity but to have breakthroughs, to remember who we truly
I
are,
think so.
and to connect with the true higher, you know, God that you're clearly so aligned with, that is just really guided this process in such a divine, incredible way. So thank you so much for all that you are and everything you do. I hope to see you maybe in March or at one of these Truth Tour events, and we'll certainly do
Okay.
another interview soon, and we'll be in touch. I love you, Laura. Thank you. And
Love you too. Thank you so much.
okay, sure. All right.
Take care.
All right. Bye.